Right, okay, everyone, we are into day 3 of basking in the glory, laughing a wee bit about Rangers as well. We're back after the long Easter weekend, they're ready to chat about Celtic again, and we have Scott McDonald back on the channel. Scott, 3-2 home win over Rangers, a scoreline that happened when you were playing, it's happened in the Brendan Rodgers era, and it's happened now. It's a nice wee scoreline, isn't it?
Well, it is, particularly when you come out on top in what was a nervy game, you have to say. But all the points have been taken home once again, and now 3 victories away from lifting the trophy again. So that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Did they perform at the very best they possibly can? Absolutely not. And we'll get on to that, I'm sure.
We did win, didn't we? It wasn't Rangers that lost. I just have to double
Correct.
check there.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Right, when Celtic still don't perform to their absolute best, they still get the job done, and they managed to do that a lot under Ange. More so last season than this season, particularly. But there has been their moments within the season as well, and that's what champions do. That's what good teams do. They know how to win, even though when they're not actually playing at their elite best. And I think Celtic and Ange would admit that they weren't at their very best, particularly that first half, when very sloppy in possession. I think that was a build up from the week before, but overall, you've got to be pleased with it. And the pleasing thing was when the chances came, they took them.
And I mean, we really capitalised on the Rangers' mistakes. I sometimes feel like I'm losing the plot doing this job, Scott, and I certainly feel like that over the last 48 hours. The narrative that Rangers were the better team and that they've worked Celtic out under Ange and all of that stuff. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I agree with you totally. Celtic can play far better than we did on Saturday. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But for me, still, the better team, still the team, certainly from open play, who had the bigger threat, created the more chances, and for me, deserved winners again. Probably similar-ish to the cup final in terms of we can play better than that, but still too strong for Rangers in the end. I mean, what is all this about that Rangers were the better team and they've worked Ange out?
I don't really buy that. I think they had moments in the game. Look, we'll probably talk about the VAR incident. For me, it's a goal. I don't see people argue that there was a push, but as an attacking player, I think that's a goal for Rangers, and I think Celtic, we did get quite lucky in that occasion, but that's not to say that the result would have ended up any different to what it ended up anyway. There was a lot of football to be played if that had been allowed anyhow 15 minutes into the game. It might have actually just shocked Celtic into action at that point, which I think it probably would have done. So to say that was a game changer, I'm not so sure. And there was a lot of football, like I said, to be played in Celtic. At home as well, you'd expect them to get chances and create chances and score goals. But you're right. Apart from the free kick in the first half, what did Joe Hart have to really do? There wasn't a lot apart from that VAR incident from the set piece that was really threatening on Celtic's goal. And then obviously at 3-1, Ange made a weird tactical decision, didn't he? Which is very rare from him, that he decided to keep Kyogo on for his hat-trick and played him in the 10 role. And then obviously Rangers then score, and then the momentum swings and he had to change that. So it actually backfired in terms of keeping him on and bringing O on as well. At that point, then he had to bring Turnbull on in the end to try and see out the game, you have to say. But, I think that at 3-1, Celtic are comfortable. Then they get the goal back, and then obviously, it does get nervy because you're wanting the 3 points at that point. There's no need to push on and get another goal for Celtic, and you're going to sit off the game a little bit more when there's so much riding on that result itself, because you go 12 clear and the title's pretty much won. So they've got to come at you, and you've got to just set out your stall to try and defend and nullify that. And that's what happened, So, within certain moments of the game, things happen and change the momentum because of what the result means in that moment. So, yes, they might have had a bit of play at the end of the game, but for me, I think Celtic was still the better team. They still dominated the ball, they still dominated possession, albeit they didn't do a lot with it. And I thought it was quite good at one stage because I was sort of wanting it earlier when Jota switched over to the left and they put Maeda to the right. I thought we would have seen that a little bit earlier. I know it's to nullify Tavernier on that side. However, whenever I've seen the likes of a Jota go up against Tavernier, he does not like that. He doesn't like playing against skillful players. I think he's more happy to play against a straight line player than someone of the ability of an Abada or a Scott Sinclair of the past. Someone that can go left, can go right. He doesn't like it, and we really missed Abada for me. Whether it being off the bench or starting on that right hand side against Barisic, he's gave him nightmares, particularly at Celtic Park. And Abada's done extremely well against Rangers in recent games as well. So him and Hatate as well. You talk about them two not being in the squad. I think they were huge misses. And Aaron Moy, you could tell, hadn't played football. You could tell he'd been injured. He was so off the pace and very, very sloppy, which is unlike him in terms of his possession. And you probably see that in his stats as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Hatate, Abada, two of the kind of key architects of Rangers' downfall over the last year or so, both unavailable. Hatate's obviously the main one people are talking about, and I think, you know, he missed a game at Ross County as well, and we do miss him a lot. He just brings that bit of kind of composure to the midfield at times, and I don't think it's any kind of shock or surprise to see the last couple of performances when you take someone like Hatate out of the team.
That's a possible position to strengthen as well in the summer. But that's not to say O'Reilly's not going to come back and get to his very best again, because he will come again. It's just you get these moments in your careers where you have the ups and downs and the highs and the euphoria of being at Celtic. Can you come and bring it again? And that's probably where he's at. We've seen that with the likes of Jota's been doing that as well, up and down, up and down. Bada had his moments. There's been a lot of players that have had those. Hatate did that, then come back again stronger. So it's up to O'Reilly to try and produce the goods once again. But possibly, if I was looking at it, that's probably where I'd like to see Celtic probably strengthen. I'm already talking about next year already, but there's a lot of football to be played to the end of the season.
But listen, Angela been thinking of next season from probably like September or something like that, if not earlier. I mean, he will know what needs done already to that squad in the summer. And you touch on an interesting point there, because all of the chat about Rangers, and not to make this all about Rangers, but their chat is, you know, we're going to recruit in the summer, we're going to be stronger, you know, Celtic, if we're this close to Celtic already with only, you know, Raskin and Cantwell signed, and if we sign 4 or 5 of those other players, we can match Celtic and all of that. You know, I'm banging my head against the wall because I'm saying, what, do you think Celtic are just going to stay the same, stand still? Celtic are going to try and hit that next level under Ange with the Champions League in mind, and you know, Rangers might be better next season, but I just think we're going to be even better. And I don't know if you saw the comments from Todd Cantwell after the game. He posted on Instagram saying that the disappointment is real. We lost the game. They didn't win it. We continue to stick together and build in the right direction. This is a project and an exciting one. Stick together as one. He then kind of backtracked a little bit on Twitter, quoting a Football Scotland article and saying, "No jibe at all. Always respect your opponents." I don't know about you, I'm quite happy for them to kind of think that they're quite close to us, because I still think we are a good, you know, level or two ahead.
Yeah, well, that's up to them, isn't it? If they want to gift goals, then you've still got to go and take them. There's still a lot of work to be done with the two that were there. You know, maybe if they need better players to stop those mistakes happening. But you know, Celtic on the other hand are you know, consistent in what they do, and that's why they are where they are. You know, look, you've got to give Rangers credit to their and their dues. Obviously, since Michael Beale's come in, they've pushed Celtic, they put pressure on Celtic, but Celtic have sustained and pushed away that pressure and continued to remain as strong as ever under Ange's helm. You know, at his reign at the moment, and you know, it can't be. You know, it's all right. They've got to give themselves some sort of positivity from it, though, Hamish. That's the thing. You know, they've got to try and spin a narrative on it for themselves, because they've just not had any joy since Michael Beale's come in against, obviously, Ange. You know, every game that he's come up against him, he's not won. So, you know, it's a monkey on the back for them. And if Celtic were to beat them again in the semi-final, that's two trips to Hampden and a champion. All trophies gone. So that, for me, that's a real psychological killer for him. Regardless of what they bring in next year, Michael Beale will be thinking, can he beat him? Come the start of next season.
I mean, I take your point. They have to give themselves some sort of positivity. Do you not think, though, under Ange, that
Yeah.
you wouldn't see a Celtic player tweeting something like that? Like it would all be kind of more in-house. And maybe talk about it in the changing room, but
Yeah.
it would be very much, publicly, show respect, all of the stuff we see.
We don't have to when you've won so much as what Celtic have over the years, over the course of the last 10 to 15 years as well. The expectations to win football matches and to win trophies. So if any Celtic player goes out there and judge, I think the Celtic fans would be the first on their case. It's like, get the job done. There is no excuses. There is no looking for support. We just got to do better. It's as simple as that. And I think there is a fear of, from their perspective, that there can be a negativity around them because they've not beaten Celtic yet. So they're looking for ways to nullify that. You can understand that. And all Celtic can do is just keep beating them and keep piling on the pressure, which they continue to do. So, just got to get these next two games out of the way before that semi-final, and then you're one step closer. And then the focus can be on that cup as well. A tough game going to Rugby Park. Yes, Celtic like going there. Obviously, that 4G surface for me is always something of, you don't know what to expect on them. I don't really particularly like them, so it's always going to be a tough game. And with Kilmarnock and under Derek McInnes, they'll be organised. They need the points as well to stay up, and that's where the focus now drives to for Celtic and for Ange, and they're almost there.
Yeah, we'll maybe jump back to that in a wee second. People talk about the gap, Scott, the gap between Celtic and Rangers. We don't talk about it too often on the channel because it's not really a talking point as far as we're concerned. I think anyone looking at the league table can see the gap. What do you make, having maybe, if you just confine it to maybe the three derbies we've seen so far of Postecoglou v Beale, do you think Celtic are, a good bit ahead? These matches have all been quite tight, but I guess, going back to your days, it was always going to be tight as well. Maybe that's just the nature of
it. Yeah, of course. I think that, look, there's no question he's made them more resolute, more organised, more belief in their camp as well, and what they're actually doing. They're all going in the one direction. We're under Van Bronckhorst near the end of it. I think there was a lot of in-house sort of, not all together. I think that obviously Michael Beale coming in has sort of raised that and raised the bar in terms of the expectations of their players and the personnel and their consistency levels as well, and putting the fear in the opposition now as well, to be more consistent. So that's keeping them on Celtic's tails, how they're performing against the other opposition, and that's always been Celtic's strength. Always for the last decade to 15 years that they've really took the sword to the other oppositions. They've not let their standards slide. They've rarely dropped points, and Rangers are now having to do that, and they know they're going to have to do that even next season to have an opportunity of catching Celtic, particularly with Ange in control. I don't see that stopping. Obviously his motto, "We never stop." I certainly believe that under Ange, and he won't stop till he gets perfection. He might not get there, but he'll get close, and that will come in the transfer window again. And like I said, he doesn't pull any punches. There's no within the players that loyalty that I'm just going to keep you because you've done such a good job for me. It's kind of like, well, can you do the job of the next person who's going to come in? That's the challenge to you. That's the gauntlet. I.e., like Taylor's done. Bernabei's come in. Obviously, he's looked at him and brought him in for a reason. You don't bring another left back to think, well, I'm just going to buy a backup, and spend that money. He's looked at him and went, well, I think he could be better than Taylor, but it's up to you, Taylor, to prove me wrong. Taylor's done that and really, really cemented himself as Celtic's left back and trustworthy and knowing what the boss wants. So there will be a few of them that come and go, I think, in the summer again. And look, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens next year. We've talked about it. Ange, for me, is going nowhere. He will do next season again. Then there'll be questions once more. But look, I think he's looking to well and truly cement his legacy at this football club, and the treble on. The treble's on, so it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about players maybe been moved on, replacements been brought in, no real loyalty there. I think there's loyalty, but there's he doesn't keep players there just based on kind of past experience. A good example of that would probably be Alistair Johnston, and the fact that he's come in and replaced Josip Juranovic. You go back 6 months, Scott, and Josip Juranovic is, a player loved at Celtic. He's our first choice right back. He's performing relatively well. Certainly last season he was excellent. And now we've suddenly got this new hero, Alistair Johnston. For me, 3 best performances he's had for the club so far have all been in derby matches. He's just ready-made for that occasion. He's just got everything you need for those kind of matches and everything you need to play for Celtic. And I guess that, as an example of what Ange is doing. And many people now looking at Alistair Johnston, I mean, you'll be able to give your own thoughts, but might even see him being, already better than Juranovic, has a potential to be better than Juranovic. Certainly there's no obvious downgrade there, having lost, a Croatian right back.
Yeah, look, I think they're similar, but look different in ways as well. I think Juranovic probably attacking wise is still stronger than what Johnson is at the moment. That's still to be proved over time if he can keep evolving in that sense. Because at Celtic you need to attack and you need to deliver things. You score goals and create goals. Certainly a better defender for me than Juranovic. He's certainly strengthened that up. And you can just see his passion and how he gets the crowd going. The crowd love that. They absolutely love him, and he gives us everything on the football pitch as well. And yes, you're absolutely right, Hamish. It's not been a downgrade whatsoever, and it's been a fantastic, replacement, and it's been seamless. To come in halfway through a season like he's done, shows the character of the player, how much he's embraced it, took on the pressure as well, loved it, and the quality that he possesses himself. So, look, I can only see him getting better as time goes on and getting a pre-season under his belt as well and learning the system a lot more as well over time, because Ange does a lot of work in his pre-season, getting the players ready for the following season or for that season and getting the tactics 100% spot on and right. And he'll tweak things, as next season goes again, because he can't sit still in terms of that. He knows that because people are trying to work him out. So he'll have other ideas and intentions for next season as well.
Yeah, which again goes against the whole Rangers have worked Ange out. It's not as if he has one plan, Ange, and sticks to that. It's such a misconception. He's always kind of changing the way Celtic play and adapting and modifying and moving on. So I think we'll see that next season as well. Just on Johnson, some quotes from him at the number 7 restaurant post match, receiving and drinking his award as well as man of the match, and telling those in attendance, "You guys well does across the line. To go 12 points clear is very special, and especially against them. We just know that if we play our football and stick to what we do, then no one can touch us." So that's a really nice feeling to have. So well done, Alistair Johnston. Kyogo Furuhashi, Scott, starting to think he might be the best Celtic striker since Scott McDonald. How about
that? Look, I think the only comparison is we can be offside as much as each other. I think that's probably as good as it can. I don't know. No, he scores a lot of goals as well. Give him that. And look, the thing is with Kyogo is he can be so quiet in the game, not touch the ball, and then all of a sudden come alive just for that one moment. He'll score from nowhere, because we've not seen him for the first 20 odd minutes of the game, which we hadn't. He hasn't really got involved. He doesn't get involved in the build-up a lot. He makes these runs. He stretches the game for his teammates. He does a lot of off-the-ball work for his team, and I think Ange always praises him for what he does for the team as well, and really appreciates it. And if you watch the games, particularly if you watch them live, you'll see that more than me on the TV screen. I can just imagine it, and I can see little bits and pieces on that. But the runs that he makes and the hassle that he gives centre half, he doesn't give them a minute. I love it. He'll go and kick someone and then sort of smile and pick them up and bow at them. It's like, I'm just going to do it again in another 5 minutes. Don't worry. I'm going to be at you again. So it's absolutely brilliant. I think he had it with Davies on the weekend, didn't he? That Davies left one on him, and he made sure a couple of minutes later, right, I'm having you. And I loved it. It's just, that's part of look, it's part and parcel, but it's part of the British game, that, isn't it? And particularly in a big game like that, you've got to make sure that, hey, you got to make sure I'm around. You're not going to have the better of me. He doesn't stand for any of that, and I think a lot of if you asked any defender in the league who's the worst to play against, it would probably be him, just because of his pure. He never stands still. He's always at you. He's always coming in late on you, and he's always making runs in behind, which is an absolute nightmare for any opposition. And if he gets a chance in the box, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Ange spoke about that kind of the kind of feeling people have, of how Kyogo is, and yeah, he's this kind of joking, laughing guy with a smile on his face and all that. But Ange said, don't underestimate how fiercely competitive he is. Yeah, 100%. Assassin's a good way to put it. A silent assassin, a smiling assassin. How about that?
So smiling, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. My final comment, can you imagine Carol Starfelt had made either of those mistakes that the Rangers centre-backs made? The outcry, there would be radio phone-ins dedicated to that kind of thing. So we'll leave that there. I thought Starfelt was good, actually. We move on now. 7 games to go, Scott. We know the first 2 of them. It's Kilmarnock away on Sunday, Motherwell at home the following Saturday. You just know that this team is going to be laser focused on what they've got to do, and they're not going to just get over the finishing line. They're going to kind of try and charge through it. I mean, the league is a bit of a formality now. I think we're going to win the league. We would need to drop like 13 points in 7 games when we've dropped 5 in 31. So that's not going to happen. But I think with that cup semi coming up as well, would quite like to maybe get a couple of really good wins in before that.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more that, winning breeds confidence. Performances breed that more so than the wins itself. It's the process to get to the result itself. And look, it's a huge relief to all the players and the staff and everyone to get that victory over the line, because it edges you so much closer. Now they can relax a little bit more in terms of now getting on with the job, which I think will allow them to play a better style of football. That Ross County game we just need to win this game. Like, I can just imagine the change room. Right, we're coming all the way up here. Yes, we want to batter them, but we just need to make sure we win this game before we play Rangers. And I think that's all that's in your mind. Like, we just need 3 points, get to the next one. And then let's see if we can get this job done. And I think now they can just take a nice deep breath. Training will be really relaxed and enjoyable this week, but ready to do the job again on Sunday. And I think they will. I think we'll see a performance on Sunday. I really do.
5-0 last time. They're playing for survival, I guess. So it's not going to be an easy game. But I just think this team, like maybe with previous teams, like after they got a big result like that, I always remember Neil Lennon team battered Rangers 3-0 and then lost to Motherwell a week later, and that was always a worry. You just don't get that feeling at all from this team that they're going to do something like that. You just feel as if anything, they're more likely to win this weekend because they've beaten Rangers, that they're just not going to let anything slip. To quote a former Rangers manager, but yeah, we'll leave that there. Yeah, we're doing well. Things are good. The Rangers excuse book has been out again, Scott, but we'll leave that to them. We'll continue with the winning, and exciting stuff. Victory on Sunday, victory next week against Motherwell. We'll be 4 points away from glory, so it's going to happen pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's exciting. Going back to the Kilmarnock game, I talked about 4G service. It might actually help Celtic in terms of that one. It plays quickly, so I think the way that the players like to get the ball down and play it and move the ball quickly, it could actually suit them on the day. And like, I just think now there's still a lot of hard work to be done, but they're almost there, and the fans can now smell it as well, and they can start to enjoy it a little bit more as the games go on, and really look forward to the build up. Obviously, this another showdown at Hampden in a couple of weeks as well. But look, you don't need to ask Ange, or it'd be a stupid question to ask him. He's only worried about Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. He doesn't care about anything else or what's been said in the media. He's just going to get on with it. And as he said to one of the reporters, have you got a trophy for me? Well, if you haven't, then I don't think the job's done. So he's as brutal as that. So he won't wait too much longer, though, to get one of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Scott, thank you once again for your time. We'll catch up with you next week when hopefully we're 3 points closer to glory. Now, on Sunday's video, just to round up, I did ask you to let me know where you're watching the channel, where in the world you're watching us. So we've got a list of places here. Just quickly, I'll do it, no particular order. Brisbane, New South Wales, Argentina, loads in Melbourne, Guyana, Corfu, Hobart, Sheffield, Queensland, Croydon, Perth, which is the cold one, Texas, Sydney, Canada, New Zealand, Spain, Bolivia, China, Canberra, Boston, Port Soy, Dublin, and more. So thank you very much for the support, everyone, and we'll chat to you on Friday.